into the national defense. Wham! Senator Jones, who is in the know, shouted these words right on the radio. Berlin will hear about, Moscow will cheer about Rosie the Riveter. Girls attend their favorite cocktail bar, sipping dry martinis, munching caviar. There's a girl who's really putting them to shame. Rosie, Rosie is her name. All day long, whether rain or shine, she's a part of the assembly line. She's making history, working for victory. Rosie, the Riveter, keeps sharp lookout for sabotage. Sitting up there on the fuselage, that little frail can do more than a mill can do. Rosie, the Riveter. Rosie's got a boyfriend, Charlie. Charlie, he's a Marine.
Rosie is protecting
Charlie, working overtime on the riveting machine. When they gave her a production knee, she was as proud as a girl could be. There's something true about red, white, and blue about Rosie, the Riveter. Rosie, Rosie the Riveter. She works hard all day, working for the USA. Hip, hip, hooray, hooray. Rosie buys a lot of war bonds. That gal really has sense. Wishes she could purchase more bonds. Putting all her cash into the national defense. Wham! Senator Jones, who is in the know, shouted these words right on the radio. Berlin will hear about, Moscow will cheer about Rosie the Riveter. While all the girls attend their favorite cocktail bar, sipping dry martinis, munching caviar. There's a girl who's really putting them to shame. Rosie, Rosie is her name. or shine. She's a part of the assembly line. She's making history, working for victory. Rosie, the riveter, keeps sharp lookout for sabotage. Sitting up there on the fuselage. That little frail can do more than a mill can do. Rosie, the riveter. Rosie's got a boyfriend, Charlie. Charlie, he's a Marine.
Rosie is protecting
Charlie, working overtime on the riveting machine. When they gave her a production knee, she was as proud as a girl could be. There's something true about red, white, and blue about Rosie, the riveter. Rosie, Rosie the riveter. She works hard all day, working for the USA. Hip, hip, hooray, hooray. Rosie buys a lot of war bonds. That gal really has sense. Wishes she could purchase more bonds. Putting all her cash into the national defense. Wham! Senator Jones, who is in the know, shouted these words right on the radio. Berlin will hear about. Moscow will cheer about. Rosie the riveter. Attend their favorite cocktail bar, sipping dry martinis, munching caviar. There's a girl who's really putting them to shame. Rosie, Rosie is her name. All day long, whether rain or shine, she's a part of the assembly line. She's making history, working for victory. Rosie, the riveter, keeps sharp lookout for sabotage. Sitting up there on the fuselage. That little frail can do more than a mill can do. Rosie, the riveter. Rosie's got a boyfriend, Charlie. Charlie, he's a Marine.
Rosie is protecting
Charlie, working overtime on the riveting machine. When they gave her a production knee, she was as proud as a girl could be. There's something true about red, white, and blue about Rosie, the riveter. Rosie, Rosie the riveter. She works hard all day, working for the USA. Hip, hip, hooray, hooray. Rosie buys a lot of war bonds. That gal really has sense. Wishes she could purchase more bonds. Putting all her cash into the national defense. Wham! Senator Jones, who is in the know, shouted these words right on the radio. Berlin will hear about. Moscow will cheer about. Rosie the riveter. Attend their favorite cocktail bar, sipping dry martinis, munching caviar. There's a girl who's really putting them to shame. Rosie, Rosie is her name. All day long, whether rain or shine, she's a part of the assembly line. She's making history, working for victory. Rosie.
Hello, hello.
Hello, hello.
Hello. All right, so welcome to the Rosie Riveter STEM Video Game Design Workshop. So today we're going to be going over real basic visual scripting, and we'll also be setting up. We're going to set up everything in Unity.
We're going to set up everything in Unity, and we're going to get our project files set up, and we're just going to show you kind of the basic ropes here. So
Yes.
if you have not installed Unity yet, you want to go down to the link in the description here if you're on YouTube. If you're on Facebook, go to our YouTube channel. It'll be way easier for you to do this on there. But go to that link, install Unity on your computer, and you can even hit pause on this stream and then catch up with us in a few minutes. So, alright, let's get right into it here. I'm going to switch over to Unity.
Alright, I'm just grab my handy dandy mouse. So I would recommend that you use a mouse pretty much at all times when you're inside of Unity. Some people use Wacom every now and then, and we've had a couple questions on whether or not you should use it or not. And I think that you just need a mouse. Get a good mouse that fits your hand real nice. If you got big hands like me, make sure you have a good mouse and go from there. All right, let's do this. I am going to go right in here. So I'm inside of Unity. If you have not used Unity before, this is what it looks like. I am going to give you a basic setup. So I'm going to go take my project window. And every window inside of Unity has a tab. So you can just take that tab and put it wherever you like, whatever you want it to be like. Just if you like to work in a way, make sure that your tabs are positioned in that way. For me, I like my project window right at the bottom. If my project window is right at the bottom, that gives me enough room to pull from all of my files, project window, where all of your files are. I'll point to it here. Hopefully you can see my mouse. I'll move it around. So I'm just going to clip it. I'm just clipping it different places just so you can see that. The way I like to teach these workshops is repeating a lot of the things that I say so you can kind of get into the natural habit and flow of understanding exactly where everything's at. So this is our project window. I'm going to move it one more time so you can see it. This is one of the most important windows inside of Unity. So right now I have a project window open, and I have a game view to my right and a scene view to my left. What's the scene view? That's where all of our files are going to go to. In a moment, we're going to move the factory into the scene. First thing I want to do, though, is I want to walk through, if you have not installed Playmaker, I'm going to actually make a separate video for everyone. So tonight you can install all of these things. We'll meet up tomorrow again, and we'll go through more of the game. So today, though, I'm going to start you out on Playmaker. So if you were to install it from scratch, and after you install it, it will appear right up here at the top of your menu where everything else is at. So I'm going to introduce you to a couple of things very quickly. So here's your file menu. You're going to open up scenes here, open up projects here. You're going to save here if you're not familiar. Here's your edit menu. This is going to involve editing any object inside of Unity. We will be working with 3D design, 3D models, not 2D models, but it would be the same thing. You will go into edit, and in here, you can frame selected object, which is Control F, by the way, when you want to look at something, just that one thing. You say Control F if you're on Windows. And it also allows you to set your project up. I'm going to show you something very important about your color space inside of Unity before I get to anything else. When you open Unity, there is two color spaces. There is gamma, and then there is linear color space. So we need to make sure that our game is inside of linear color space. So I would prefer that you do this at the beginning when you open up your project. So later tonight, I'll give you guys a video that will allow you to see how I actually start opening the project. So I'm going to go to project settings here. You're going to see this window. I'm going to pull this over here. You should be able to see that. Let me try to put it down there. Okay. Yes, you should be able to see that. All right, I'm going to go to graphics. Right? once you're inside of graphics, you're going to go to the bottom here. And if yours is lagging like mine, just kind of give it a second to catch up. I'm trying to be live with you guys at the same time. One of the things about doing any task inside of game development that you hear a lot of and people are really unfamiliar with is the time it takes to set up your files. That's what we're doing now. I'm going to take you through setting up basic stuff. Then we're going to actually do some work. But you're going to be constantly setting up your files a certain way to increase your workflow or to increase your efficiency. So right now we're looking for where the color is at. So I'm looking here to make sure I'm in the right menu. So let's go to the bottom. And I'm just going to do what I do every day, which is try stuff, make it happen, have fun while you're doing it, and make sure that you're not in gamma color space. Here we go. So it's actually going to be in your player. If you go to your player menu, so let me repeat that, go edit, go to project settings, you're going to go to your player menu right here inside your project settings. You're going to see this little thing down here. It's going to say color space. Mine is on linear already. Okay. Yours needs to be on linear. If it is not on linear, make it linear. If not, you will have your colors will be off, and you will look at it and you'll say, oh, well, my blue is not my blue, or my blue doesn't look appropriate. And to make sure that that never happens to you, keep your color space inside of linear. All right, so select that. It's very important, and I would do that before you start doing anything else. All right. Now that I have that done, I'm going to introduce you on to how to make sure you have Cinemachine and post-processing inside of your Unity file. So let's talk a second about what is Cinemachine. So Cinemachine is the camera movement inside of Unity. So let me move this here, and I'm going to show you exactly what that is. Actually, first I'll show you where to get it, and then I will repeat this later so you understand. So I'm actually going to go to my Windows file at the top here. I'm going to go to Windows. I don't know if you can see my actual mouse click, so I'm just going to try to talk through it to you, especially if you have one screen. So I'm going to go a little slower here. At the top, you will see the Windows file text. It will say Windows right next to Help. And you are going to go down to something called the Package Manager. Once you select the Package Manager, let me slide it over. I'm just going to tab it over. I'm trying to work on one screen, so it's easier for people with one screen. I know most people have just one screen. So let's go down, and inside this Package Manager, you're going to see this is in alphabetical order. You're going to see this Cinemachine here. When you get to it, you're going to hit this little button up here. And again, I'm lagging. Give me a second. You're going to hit this little button up here, and it's going to say Install. Once you press Install, you're going to see a little tiny dot inside of the tab that says Install, and that's going to be installing Cinemachine while you wait. Once you're done with that, you're going to go down, and you're going to actually go to Post-Processing, which is down here. I'm on 2.1.5. I'm not really too big on which one you have exactly. Just make sure that you're using Unity 2018.4.1 F1 or .1 F2, I believe is the other edition. So any one of those are fine for the workshop that we're working on. So once you see this post-processing, make sure you go to install. If you already have it, make sure you update it. It's just good to keep them updated. They change as time goes along. So let's get started here. You have your, just a real quick rehash, you have your Playmaker that you installed, which again, I'll give you a video on that later. You have your post-processing and you have your Cinemachine. Those are the main components to building the game that we're going to build. What is this game that we're going to build? We're building a Rosie the Riveter game. This Rosie the Riveter game that our studio is working on specifically, we're using to teach and to show you the different aspects and elements of how to develop your own game. So you'll be learning visual scripting, 3D animation, as well as I would say like different tips on how we write our stories and how we choose to use. Would you say like what would you call like math creative mathematics? Would it be
Yeah,
like
yeah. I think there's so much fun that you can have with math in this because it stops being
yes,
math and it starts being this incredible, basically collection of triggers where everything is a yes or a no, or a
yes,
0 or a 1, and you create these paths that possibilities can go down, and so we'll be going over how to use zeros and ones and everything in between to make emotions in your characters and make them interact with their worlds around them.
yes. So now let's bring in this factory, okay? Inside of the Google Drive I sent to everyone, or if you don't have it, it should be at the bottom in the link. If not, I'll have to leave it in the comments in a minute. The factory is all custom built. It was built inside of Maya to represent this kind of. It was originally modeled after an airplane hangar, right?
Yeah,
Like,
the originally the kind of character
yeah,
that the original Rosie the Riveter was built on was based on a woman who worked in an airplane
airplane hangar. Yeah.
factory during World War II. And so we based a lot of the original factory design for this game
Yes.
on airplane hangars and the little architectural details in there. So it's still got the big factory vibes, but we had some fun with that.
Yeah. So now let's go ahead and bring it in. Inside of our project window, right? You have this. You can see this factory down here, and I believe yours is called the same as the Factor 3. So let's go ahead and bring it in. And we're gonna drag it right. You saw that? We're gonna drag that. I'm just gonna keep doing that so you can see it. We're gonna just drag it right into our scene view. You can't drag it into your game view. Your game view is actually just a display coming from a camera. I'll show you what that means in a moment.
If we give that just a second, I'm
Yes,
actually going to
go ahead.
remove this so we can see that bottom a little bit better on
Okay.
the screen.
And again, the game view is on the right and the scene view is on the left. What is the difference between the game view and the scene view? The scene view is where you do all of your work. You put together your animations. You actually work on your file. It is the construction site, if you will, to your construction building or to your architecture. So we're building this game in the scene view, and then once you play the game, you will play it in the game view, and there you will be able to switch cameras and do all these different things, right? That's the
Exactly.
best way to say that.
Exactly. So we're
Yeah.
actually going to go ahead and just do quick Control Z's, the key combo, the Control button and the letter Z at the same time as your undo button. And so we're going to pull that out, and I'm just going to show you again one more time here. We're going to put an object from down here in this panel.
In your project view.
That's your project view, so that's going to hold all of your little files and big files, all of the files
Yes.
within your project, and so you could use this and drag things into your world. So in this case, what were we trying to put in?
The factory.
The factory.
So,
Okay,
yeah.
so we've got the factory here, and we're going to drag this right into the scene, just like that. You hold down your click button, and you just drag it right in there, and you can see that. If you hold down the Alt button and you click, you can actually rotate around that. So again, you hold down Alt, you can rotate around.
And if you can just quickly take them, let's take them to like a quick tour, just like different spots of the factory, so you can see how massive this thing is.
Okay,
So this
cool.
is one 3D object. So if you could just give me like just a quick little 360 tour, maybe take the game view and there we are. Cool. Yep. And all she did is just slap the game view to the side so we can just see what's going on here.
Yeah, everything in here, these tabs, you can actually drag around and move around. If you click up here, you'll get very, very friendly with these buttons up here. So you can drag this down, and that's the game window, so that's actually what your camera's looking at.
Yes.
And I'm actually going to go to the scene window because I'm controlling it, but I'm going to grab this main camera, and I'm going to focus it in here. If you hit Control Shift F, that will actually bring whatever you're moving right into your camera, into your space there. So in this case, I need my camera to come over here into this factory. So I just did one of these, and you can see down here there's a little preview of what the camera can see.
Yes.
And so I'm actually going to go here, and if you look, you can do physical camera settings inside of Unity, which is like one of my favorite things to play with. And you can actually adjust your field of view. You can control all kinds of fun stuff in here.
And what would you say is the difference between pressing that physical camera view versus doing its default camera? What would you say is the benefit to someone developing a game?
Well, because if you're actually like dialing in your camera here and getting it set, you're actually physically working with the camera. You're making it do this the way a filmmaker would be adjusting his camera. So see, now here you have more of a look, but I'm going to adjust the focal length. So that's going to bring it in, more dramatic framing here, or I can get, way back and it gets super like kind of sort of this just surrealist kind of look. So you can play a lot with your lenses, and you can do a whole lot of stuff to just get a totally different flavor within your image. So anyway, I'm going to hand this back over to Elijah to play with, so
Cool.
you can get a tour of the inside of the factory here.
All right, so here we go. So let's just kind of slowly, just really quick, right? And go I'm just going through the size of the factory. So of course, every object in here you can just grab, and you can animate or whatever you want to do with it. So as you can see, I'm kind of messing with this fan here. Okay, let me I'll grab. You look in your hierarchy. So your hierarchy is on the left. I'm going to actually save this scene. So we're using our save as for the first time. Let's do save as really quick. And I'll just go right in here. And your folder will probably be called AAA Rosie. And I did that so it appears at the top at all times. So let's just say Rosie, Rosie, the Riveter. I don't think you guys can actually see my file. So I'm just saving it here. That's all I'm doing. So I just saved as, and you need to save inside of the actual project. It won't work if you try to save outside of the Unity project, simply because when Unity makes a project, it creates these meta tags that tell you exactly where the files are at, so it can assess them a lot quicker.
And the other thing too, which we'll be going over this as we take you through the game development process, but you want to make sure that you're organizing your files and like labeling each file from the beginning. You do not want to wait till halfway through your project to start organizing your files, because otherwise you're going to have a mountain of indistinguishable confusion, and it'll be very hard, and it's very easy to just start out by organizing. So make sure you label everything. Make sure you put it, we'll show you our way of organizing, but if there's a way that works better for you to organize, feel free to over time develop your own organizational system for it. But just make sure you're doing something so that you know what's what, and hopefully if you're working with someone else on it, they can tell what on earth's going to. That's a very important part of teamwork when you're doing something technology related, is being able to pass files back and forth and make some kind of sense out of them. So, so make sure that you, if you're working with anybody, you have agreed upon some way of being organized, just to save yourself some sanity there.
All right, so here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to pull in Rosie. So I'm going to show you how this...
that dragging it in.
Yeah, I'm just dragging it in. That's it. So give it a second. It's going to take a minute. And it's going to process. So it's going to process this 3D object, right? Remember, we're not in 2D space. We're in 3D space. When you are doing any kind of game development with your characters, you want to make sure you have a character in the scene to light the scene. If the character is not in the scene where you light it, you may find yourself redoing your own lighting. So as this processes itself, one of the things I want to talk to you about is making sure that you understand exactly what visual scripting is. Visual scripting is, how would you explain it if it was the first time someone ever heard of visual scripting? How would you explain it?
I would basically say that visual scripting is the process of basically you take your script and you're putting it in either a little capsule.
Yes.
And then you're connecting it so that it's just a series of logical steps.
Yes.
Between, okay, so if there's something that crosses this line, it's statistically likely to either go this way or that way, depending on a number thing. And so if you go in there and set the path and create a link of possibilities that could happen depending on different variables, you can do that. So that's basically how like an AI script would work. But if you're using visual scripting, instead of having a long sheet of text that is pretty confusing to look at if you don't know code, visual scripting allows you to basically have that code in labeled containers. So you just see the label and where it's going, and you don't have to look at necessarily code chaos all over the place as you're
and I would even go as far to say that it enables you to definitely check errors and this kind of thing as fast as possible. Like for me, it's the most efficient way to do it because you're actually looking at something, of course, visually, than having to kind of scrap through a bunch of C# code. So let's go ahead and move right into this character. So I just put Rosie in there. Okay, you can see she's in the air. Let's get her into a reasonable spot. Let's go ahead and move my inspector over. And while I get her in a reasonable spot, can you just explain to them what the inspector does exactly? Like what is the inspector, why you use it, and what it's for?
So you see the inspector is over onto, it's this left tab, or the right tab on the right side of your screen here.
Yeah, and again, we don't know if you can see our mouse, so we're just going to explain.
I think you can, but yeah, so your inspector tab there is going to tell you everything you need to know about whichever object you have selected at the moment within the game. And a lot of the times there's also some kind of settings you can control, like in this case, because she's a 3D model, a character within here, you can see it's got the transform position there on the screen, and that basically makes it so you can set exactly where in her physical plane she is. You also see the avatar, which controls a lot within the bone structure of this character, and you've got different things for scaling and a bunch of other stuff, and you can actually get deeper into that object if you explore like the open button or different things in there, and depending on the object you've got, it's going to say a world of different things, but generally it makes some kind of sense based on what you're trying to edit.
Yes. So right now this has no, it has one light in it. So I'm going to actually, what we'll do is I'm going to completely delete this light here. Okay. And I'm going to show you this character without